It's a beautiful morning, 14th Wednesday of February 2024. A very warm welcome. This is Leadership Wednesday, of course, your weekly show where we bring you matters leadership, try to dissect matters leadership across our country, in the society, and even across the nation. And of course, with the purpose and with the sole aim to ensure that we better our leadership on a daily basis or every day, because as we've always said in this particular show, everything rises or falls on matters of leadership. And so we want to welcome you so that you can also be part and parcel of today's conversation. You have a role, you have a responsibility, you have a contribution to play, so you don't have to be left behind, you don't have to be left out as far as matters leadership are concerned. And when we pull our resources together, we pull our efforts together, we can always enjoy, we can always be proud of the society we live in, of the country we live in, of our neighborhoods, and of course, that is our desire. My name is Mangicho Mola, and today we are going to look at this particular subject on service delivery. Now, for the recent past, we've had the government, and there has been talk, there has been debate, there has been discussion about the government's move to ensure that majority of its services are actually given through e-citizen. And of course, quite a number of people have complained that the system is not working, the system is not efficient, is not effective. So we want to find out what could be the problem, what could be the underlying matters that are making this particular program not effective, not efficient, and therefore what needs to be done so that we can ensure that everything goes well, especially during this particular digital era or digital space. So that is the topic that we're going to look at. But of course, later on, there is also the issue of the reconstitution of independence and the boundaries, the IEBC, Independence Electoral and Boundaries Commission. There has been that talk. We know for some time there was the process of beginning to find or beginning to recruit the selection panel, but this is an exercise that was halted after the government and the opposition decided to work together, and that is when we had the National Dialogue Committee being formed, and of course they went to Bomas. But then after they came from Bomas, it's like they went quiet, and so the court actually decided to order that the selection process or exercise should actually continue. So where are we at the moment, and what are we going to expect? That is also a subject that we are also going to discuss in a short while, and so we are welcoming you so that you can join us and so that you can participate and interact with us in this particular show. And of course, we always bring you a guest in this particular show, so we'll be joining, or we have a guest that will be joining us in a little while, and that is Bwana Anthony Muidaga. He is a governance and also a political expert in these particular matters. He'll be here to help us look at this particular issue in details. But I'm not also alone. I have my colleague on the other side, Bwana Paul Kage, in this particular set. It's good to see you. Habari asubuhi.
Salama sana Mangicho. Good morning once again. How are you?
I'm very fine, and it's good to see you. I'm also hoping that you're doing well.
Yes, I'm doing fine. This Wednesday, and I'm optimistic over the day that it was going to bear good fruits for me in this day. Just to welcome dear viewer for today's program, the Leadership Wednesday, as we look at some of the issues that are happening in our country in a great depth. Welcome once again. My name is Paul Kagi.
Thank you so much, and of course, it's a pleasure. And of course, our dear viewer, the platform that we want you to use even as you interact with us. Of course, we have a question that we're going to put out for you, and we are asking you, what is your opinion on the government's move to ensure that its services are actually given through e-citizen? What are your opinions on the government's move to ensure that majority of its services are offered through e-citizen? That is a question that we have put out for you there, and we'd like you to give us your reflections. Do you think this particular system is going to enhance service delivery in the country? Do you think there are challenges? By the way, have you gone to government offices and wanted to be served? Maybe in the Huduma centers, maybe in other offices, you went to seek for some services. How was it for you? Did it delay? there are some costs that maybe you incurred. Did you find the services efficient? Did you find the services effective? Kindly try to draw a picture for us so that we can be able to see what is it that is really happening. Maybe you are seeking the services of identity card. Maybe you are seeking the services of driving license. Whatever service you've been seeking in the county governments or even maybe in the national offices, kindly let us know how has it been for you in terms of actually acquiring these services. And of course, we'll be so glad to also find out what your take is. Of course, you know the drill. You can catch us live on our Facebook page. That is MBCI TV. For Facebook page, that is MBCI TV. You can catch us live. Drop a comment. Drop your view, drop your perspectives on that, and of course we'll be glad to also see. I know there are those who are also interested in YouTube. We are also live on our YouTube page, that is MBCI TV official. You can also give us a comment or two on that particular page. Let us know what is your take on that. Do you think you've been satisfied? Do you think it is fulfilling when maybe you are seeking these particular services in the government offices, or maybe has there been some challenges that you've encountered? And of course, you can also catch us on our shortcut platform. We are using 23814, and of course this is a service that is free of charge, so you can also give us your perspectives. You can give us your opinions, you can give us your take, your views on what you think through the 28314, and of course we'll be glad. Of course, as we continue with our show, as we continue with our conversation, we'll be able to sample some of these particular responses and be in a position to also see and to also gauge what are some of your take as far as these particular matters are concerned. We also have our reporter, Vincent Kimtai, who always goes to the streets and interacts with Kenyans on this particular matter, and in a short while we'll also be joining him so that we can also find out what are Kenyans saying about this particular issue on service delivery. What do they think? And of course we'll be able to bring you that particular perspective from our colleague Vincent Kimtai, who always goes to the streets to find this information. But of course, Kagi, as we always do, there are quite a number of other undertakings, some other news that have also made headlines across this particular 1 week.
Yes, of course, we are going to look at the issues which has been making headline in our dailies in the nation for the last maybe few days. And one of the issues that is coming up here is the issue of two issues which look similar about the workers, the ghost workers, and the civil servants who are said to be working or using some fake papers and have been unmasked by the Public Service Commission. But before then, we can talk about the ghost workers, which is being mentioned that they are getting away with around 35 billion shillings. And this is according to the report given out, whereby they have been using some payrolls for the 42 counties, breaching the salary laws. And it is not the first time that we have come across this jargon of ghost workers. It is very common in our counties, and we know, Mangicho, when we were having the installation of the new dispensation and the new government, these even in the counties, there were reports of revelations of many ghost workers in our counties, a matter that just went under the table. And we have never heard about the revelations of how this matter was addressed, or how these ghost workers were taken into task to explain how they were receiving salaries, yet they are not employees of the county. And therefore, this matter seems to be following us day and day. And by yesterday, it was revealed in our 42 counties, ghost workers are in plenty and are moving away with a lot of salaries. Away from that, there was a very huge celebration from the Public Service Commission regarding to many people who are in government offices or who are public servants, but they are operating using some fake documents. And this is after there was a thorough audit of the documents from the Public Service Commission. In fact, the Commission has been collecting some documentations from the public servants, and they have managed to audit around 29,000 certificates, maybe using the Kenya National Examination Council and other academic bodies. And out of the 29,214, it was revealed around 2,000 fake academic and professional certificates were used to obtain jobs in government institutions. And we have around, I think, 200,000 civil servants. If 29,000 can give 2,000 fake academics, what number, if you look at this ratio, is going to come out when we have the whole 200,000 civil servants? It is going to be an explosion. And we don't know what is going to happen, according to the chairman of the PSC, Mr. Mwaniki Mushiri, who say that they are optimistic this number is going to go a little bit higher. And those who will be found, they forge the documents for the sake of obtaining some job in the government institutions, they are going to be held accountable. And I think also the issue of the Kenya National Examination Council, they need to tighten their grip on the matter of ensuring that the documents they are giving to the public, they are documents which are authentic and which cannot be forged by anybody.
Sure.
And this is just a drop in an ocean on what is happening in our institutions, whether it is under the national government or the county government. And when you combine the issue of ghost workers and fake documents, we can easily say that there is a lot of corruption in our employment policy.
Exactly, Kagi. A major story there, a major news item there, and actually, I think it is actually coming right on time, because I think it is very much related to the discussion that we are going to have, because we want to find out if the government is actually in the process intending to ensure that it streamlines its delivery of services to Kenyans. Then how comes we are having some of these particular abnormalities, like actually the issue of ghost workers, because that is quite a very, very huge figure. And so if maybe the solution is to digitize, and of course we've maybe begun this particular process, but then why is it that we are still having this particular challenge? And do we really believe that the introduction of e-citizen is actually going to solve this particular issue, or do we still have to go to the basics, the tenets of integrity, to ensure that some of these particular vices are actually done away with? So I think it is quite a complex subject, quite heavy, very critical, and I think we'll look at it in broad.
There is another issue that is coming here regarding to the IEBC. I think last week there was a High Court ruling that allowed the reconstitution of the IEBC, which was highly opposed by the opposition led by Raila Odinga, who was saying that according to the engagement with the NADCO report, or the National Dialogue report, they had agreed on how they are going to rebuild the IEBC, but tomorrow the Parliament is going to debate on this matter tomorrow, the National Dialogue Committee, that is NADCO, whereby the issue of the IEBC, the constitution is there, and also the issue of the cost of living, the issue of house levy, all these matters are there, but there is a suspicion that the Kenya Kwanza MPs are plotting to blackmail the opposition regarding the constitution of IEBC, whereby they want to fix the opposition to be able to relent on the push to change the house levy policy, which I think is going to become a hot debate tomorrow. The issue of IEBC has not been easy. I don't know, by the constitution, the IEBC need to be put in place so that if you have any by-election, whether it is in the ward rep or any other level of our political cadre, there is no confusion.
Sure.
But the issue of IEBC has been a thorn in flesh, I think, particularly to the opposition chief, who is very keen on who becomes the chair of IEBC. But there's someone who was, I think, who was that? There's someone who was asking questions why Raila is always keen on the chairman of IEBC, and he was giving a history of the chairmen of IEBC, the electoral commission that we had, that all of them had had a hand from Raila to push for their installations. But again, even after being installed, they have never worked for his good. And therefore they are questioned. Even if today they given a chance to push for the chairman, I don't think it is going to give him any upper hand on anything.
You remember the sarcastic statement that was made by one of the politicians?
Yes.
That even if the brother to the former Prime Minister was to be made the chair of the IEBC, the opponents would still not have wouldn't have a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, but Kagi, on a more serious note, I think it's not very pleasing, it's not very impressive to actually maybe see Parliament wanting maybe to actually interfere or to actually take this particular subject on reconstitution of IEBC on a matter or on a manner that Kenyans can actually maybe see they are not serious about it, or maybe they want to play games. Because when you begin now to hear things like maybe blackmailing, it basically means that maybe they don't have that goodwill, because we know some of the problems and maybe some of the key challenges that we've been having as a country emanate from matters election, and therefore it's important. And 2027 is not very far away. We are fast approaching, so it is important that we get it right this time round, so that we really don't have it's quite unfortunate that after every electioneering period we have situations where maybe the country is not stable just because of the post-election matters.
Yeah, and finally, regarding the same, it is not the first time that the issue of IEBC is coming, electoral body is coming. I think for a lot of time in our history, we see after every election we have a way to be able to reconstitute an IEBC. It reminds me of, I think it was 2007 during Moi's reign. There was a little bit high debate on how to reconstitute the electoral body. And that time they came up with something they call, I think, IPPG or something, whereby all the parties had to propose someone in the electoral body to be able to build that trust under the Electoral Commission. I think it's a good gesture also, whereby we give an environment to all political players to feel comfortable with the electoral body, to remove any suspicion.
Absolutely.
All right?
Yes.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Kila mahali duniani ikiwamo Nakuru, kila mtu anahitaji kufahamu ukweli ili kuwa na uhuru wa kiroho na furaha. SOS Adventure inakuletea tamasha la mlipuko wa furaha litakalofanyika Afraha Open Ground kuanzia tarehe 21 Februari hadi tarehe 25 Februari. Hata kujua ukweli kutoka kwa mwinjilisti Johannes Amriza atakayekuletea neno la Mungu na kukujulisha ukweli ili upate uhuru wa kiroho na furaha ya kweli.
Joy has come. Healing has come. Freedom has come. Jesus has come.
Waleteni wagonjwa na wenye matatizo mbalimbali wote wataombewa na kupona. Pia utaona muziki wa moja kwa moja kutoka kwa waimbaji maarufu kama Boaz Duncan, Ekodida, Kubamba na Julia Wilkinda. Hakuna kiingilio, kiingilio ni bure kuanzia saa 9 alasiri. Watu wote mnakaribishwa.
Next on Akili Shambani.
Mimi nimefanya mambo ya ukulima wa samaki zaidi ya miaka 6 kwa saa hii. Unanunua nyavu, kesho mvuvi anakuambia nyavu imeibiwa. Halafu umechukua loan. Mwanzo tulikuwa tukienda kuvua samaki. Wavuvi wetu wanashikwa na askari wa Uganda, na tena hauwezi kuwa na target.
Kulikuwa kuna tatizo ya samaki kwenye maji. Samaki walikuwa ni wachache, hawawezi kupatikana. Ndio maana tukawa na mradi huu wa cage fish farming. Cages zenye tuko nazo kwa saa hii ni karibu 130 na ziko na size tofauti. Wenye wako hapa kwa saa hii ni samaki wa miezi 6. Wamebekisha miezi kama 4 ama miezi 5 tuwatoe pale tuwauze.
Hawatatoka kwa hii nyavu, waende tu kwa lake.
Kuna kitu inaitwa nursery. Tuko na ile nursery fine net yenye iko na mashimo madogo madogo. Hiyo ndio tunafunga pale ndani, alafu tunawaweka hapo kwa muda wa miezi 3, alafu tunawaachilia.
Mavuno yako vipi ikilinganishwa na ule uvuvi wa zamani?
Naona ni kama nazidi kupanuka. Kwa ajili nilianza na kakeji kamoja. Na sasa niko na 3.
Niko na talanta. Huwa nalia kama maki.
Mulikamuzi kwa kizungu inaitwaje?
Mulikamuzi na kizungu. Spot the thief. Spot the thief.
Gap kwa meno inaitwaje?
Diastema. Diastema.
What's he talking about? Kuna hii kitu inaitwa dragon fruit. Dragon fruit ni nini?
Matunda ya Edeni.
Kenya ni shillings na Zambia?
Zambiata.
What do you call a female chicken?
Kuku msichana.
Kuna huyu mtu kwa Biblia alikuwa anaitwa Esther. Kazini ya Esther alikuwa anaitwa nani ama anakaa kuitwa nani hivi? Kazini yake alikuwa anaitwa Mary. Mary Magdalene.
Camco February offer is here. Ofa hii ni kuanzia mwezi huu wa Februari hadi 15th March 2024. Jinyakulia walking tractors, generators, concrete mixes, hardware tools, manual forklift, woodworking machines, agriculture machines na nyingine nyingi kwa bei nafuu kabisa. Imagine zote unapata na ofa ya up to 50% discount. Changamka kabla upitwe. Sheria na masharti kutumika.
In the heart of Nairobi City, this February, a divine convergence will take place at Nyayo National Stadium. The churches of Kenya extend a heartfelt invitation to you as we welcome God's servant, Pastor Benny Hinn, renowned for signs, healing, and miracles. Join us at Nyayo National Stadium on the 24th and 25th of February 2024 from 3 p.m. daily. Witness the miraculous and be part of a spiritual encounter that will transform your life.
I want all of you in Kenya to be there at the crusade.
This powerful meeting has been made possible by the generous support of the churches of Kenya. For more information, call 0796 92 8052. See you there.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
We apologize for that short technical hitch there, but we are right back here on the Leadership Wednesday show. Of course, you're watching us right here on your favorite channel, MBCI TV, today discussing matters service delivery and, of course, later on the issue of the reconstitution of IBC. You have a question that we've also put out for you. What is your view? What is your take? What is your opinion on the government's move to ensure that majority or most of its services are actually rendered or given through the e-citizen? Kindly give us your reflections, your feedback through our feedback platforms, social media pages, Facebook MBCI TV, YouTube MBCI TV official, shortcut platform 23814. As we continue, we'll be glad to also see how you respond to this particular subject. But at this particular juncture, Kagi, I think we can now introduce our guest for today. That is one Anthony Withagi. He's a political analyst and also a governance expert. Good to have you today. Karibu sana to the Leadership Wednesday.
Asante Mangicho. Mr. Kagi.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah, I'm always happy to be here.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
How are things back at your place?
Well, of course, we are complaining. We thank God that we are still alive.
Sure.
Thank God.
Being alive is great.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Karibu sana to this particular show, and we are happy that you found time to join us. And of course, I know later on we'll be talking about the issue of IBC, but I think we first of all want to look at this particular issue of e-citizen that has actually brought a lot of debate and mixed reactions. Of course, a lot. We have people who are opposing, we have people who are supporting, and even the very recent about the government's move that all monies pertaining maybe to school fees and other school levies should actually be paid through e-citizen, and this one has actually also been met with a lot of with the mixed reactions. But maybe as you even chip into this, Bwana Mwidhaga, what do you think has been the main issue, even before the introduction of e-citizen, as far as service delivery in our country is concerned?
Technology is now part of our age, this age, and I don't think we have a problem with technology. It is the sincerity of the whole exercise, because why would the Kenya Kwanza regime push so hard to have this e-citizen, where schools are forced to pay through it and many other services, and then we have wild charges they themselves cannot explain? I think it's more or less of a very faceless body, because we don't even know the directors. You know, whatever you do, because of what we call the sovereignty of the people of the Republic of Kenya, it should have gone through Parliament, right? Unfortunately, Parliament is part of the state capture. You cannot just introduce things to the public without them participating, and that's why we have what we call public participation. Yes, you're asking schools to pay, parents to pay through that e-citizen. Who are the directors? When was it created? These are some of the questions people are asking, and they want very, very concrete answers, because you're not just going to force people to do things in this country. That era is dead and gone.
But are you of the opinion that maybe the idea is positive, the idea would be much prudent in relation maybe to how things have been previously? Maybe before we began to really begin to embrace technology.
That's what I said when I started, that it's imperative now to embrace some of the technologies we are getting. It's not a bad idea. The problem is the sincerity in the whole exercise, because we don't even know who are doing it. You know, the other day I was reading on social media that some 6 billion has just disappeared. And you know, when you don't have answers to some of the questions the public is asking, then the whole thing would definitely collapse. And that is why people are keen on finding out exactly why the president is forcing us to use e-citizens to pay.
Mr. Mwidhaga, I'm trying to reason. The 222 is not a new number to us, although this one specific is very new, because it is whereby you are collapsing every payment in one basket. But the payment of government services via the pay bill is not very new to us. And I wonder why Kenyans are so much interested in knowing who are managing the system there. But if you look at all the ministries, whether it is the Ministry of Roads, the NTSA, the NHIF, all of them, they have been using the pay bills to be able to make any government payment. It's only now the difference is that this payment is moving from various devolved areas to a one consolidated area. And no one ever queried, for example, if I go to maybe renew my license and I use the pay bill, no one really was bothered about where this money goes. This is government money, whether it is via when you are renewing your land or anything, it is government money, and we are not questioning that. But now, because it goes to the head office, everybody is questioning. I think it is the same thing that which is being done differently.
No, the sad bit about it is it has been collapsed into one number.
Yeah.
You know, unlike before when it was, you know, they were using various pay bills. The question is, why would the president push so hard to want everybody to use this citizen to pay? The whole idea is questionable, right? And you know, why it's becoming questionable is because you've had him talk about the housing levy, it's unstoppable. Yet he knows it's unconstitutional. He doesn't have that mandate, right? He goes ahead and does all these things against the judiciary, and then you blame the judiciary, the same judiciary that gave you the opportunity to become the president of the Republic of Kenya, if he was ever elected anyway.
Yeah. Don't you think it is the easiest way to be able to fight corruption in this way? If you come to our ministries, every ministry was managing its own finances. Sometimes it was not manageable. You couldn't be able even to audit that money. Or maybe the counties, they have their own money, and if you could follow the audit report from the Auditor General, that we are losing a lot of monies in the counties and in the ministries. Don't you feel it is the easiest way to be able to control the wastage in our institutions when we have one place whereby our money is going?
But we still have the budget control of budget still complaining. It's the sincerity of the whole exercise. It's not even about that technology, because we'll keep embracing new technologies in various areas, right? But the sincerity of the whole exercise is what Kenyans are questioning. And Kenyans have the right, because they're the sovereign people of this country, and they have a right. These are not the days when, like during Moi's era, when Moi would just wake up one morning and do things without consulting. And you see, even our parliament today has become part of the executive. So I would call it one of the largest kindergartens in East Africa, because they only listen to one person, with an exception of a small group that is able to raise its voice. But this particular one is, it goes against integrity.
But still on that note, because I know we might be having that particular challenge, maybe as Kagi, you're saying, maybe for example the issue of corruption, and if we look at now at the introduction of this system, is there a way, can we actually maybe look at it as a very, very possible measure, as a very possible tool, maybe to deal with some of the challenges or maybe of corruption, even if maybe people wanted to be insincere, but can this be a tool to curb that? Or maybe they would still interfere with it?
The only possible way, and I'm sorry, I must say it here now, the only way to resolve this problem is through a full-fledged revolution. These people won't listen. They're the same people. So they're making us look like we're babies, because they wake up today and say something different from what they said yesterday. So the only way to solve some of these problems is through a full-fledged revolution.
So you don't think
we start all over again after 60 years?
If Kenyans were actually maybe now to be made to use this particular system, you don't see a situation whereby we can have news, we can have information coming to us that the rates of corruption, bribery have gone down?
You've heard of the same monkeys but different forests. It's the same story we have here today. It won't change. These fellows are not prepared to change. Unfortunately, a vast majority of them are politicians. So they're looking at the next general election. So all this is geared towards 2027. Well, I hope they'll be there to witness that. Yes. It is all geared toward 2027. It's not about service delivery. At this particular juncture, Kenyans are mourning of a country that has fallen off the cliff.
Yeah, I think we can agree about the sincerity of what is being done. It is really need to question. But I want to look at this matter from the county level. If you go to many counties, we have been dealing with handling the services by picking the petty cash. For example, from Mamamboga, from the Boda guys, from everything was being paid petty cash. And in that area, many counties were losing a lot of money. And today we can agree that many counties today have managed to rescue a lot of revenue, because there is no longer the petty cash payment within our counties. That means many counties have been able to consolidate their money and minimize theft that was being done on the ground. I think at that point we can now forward this to the national level, Mr. Mwithaga. Even without looking at now, I know it is being shifted from those guys who are collecting money or stealing from the ground to the main office. That one can happen. But I think at a bigger level, if the controller of budget and those who are involved, maybe in the central bank, can be able to allow this to happen, it can help our country to be able to save a lot of money, maybe from the 2 billion that we were told in the last regime we are losing every day, maybe to 1 billion.
And I think a very good example, Kagi, is the county of Laikipia, especially I think during the last regime where we had Nderitu Mureithi as a governor. I think that is when we had this particular system being introduced where all monies would be paid using that one particular channel, the electronic channel. And I think there have been reports that we've actually seen that even the revenue that was being collected by the county had actually gone up. So I don't know, Bwana Mwithaga, what you think.
It's not a bad idea. The unfortunate bit is that, yes, you moved away from, you've removed the money from petty thieves to grand robbers. Because look at our county today, Nakuru County. It's full of potholes. I've complained about street lights. Most of our streets are dark at night, right? We've had issues with muggings and robbery at night. People don't feel safe anymore. Yet we have a governor who's just busy chasing War Memorial land. For whatever reason, I do not know. That's a hospital that has served us for many years, and it has done a lot. It has done with a lot of diligence. Now, if we are collecting money and it's not working for us, it's not working for us, what's the point of collecting that money? Because you see, at the end of the day, they're not even able to account for it, right? People expect services through the taxes they pay. You know, take an example of Britain. Yeah, the taxes might be high, but they get the services for the money they pay. Here it's the very opposite. You know, today Mangicho is our governor. Last year he was driving a Toyota 100. Today he's driving a V8 or a Range Rover. You know, you even ask yourself, is your salary enough to buy some of the things these fellows are buying? It's not.
Yeah, I think before we continue, Kagi, we can have our director giving us some interviews that were actually conducted by our reporter, that is Vincent Kimtai. As we always do in this particular show, we have that particular segment where we interact with Kenyans from all walks to also get their opinions on what they feel about an issue that we are discussing. And of course, our reporter Vincent Kimtai went and interacted with them, and this is what he was able to collect.
Mangicho Mola pamoja na Paul Kagi, kama vile ambavyo mmeweza kusema hapo studioni, serikali imekuwa kwenye harakati ya kuweka huduma zake zote kwenye mtandao wa e-Citizen. Na mwaka uliopita pamoja na mwaka huu, waziri wa dijitali Eliud Owalo ameweza kukariri kwamba serikali imefanikiwa kiasi fulani kuweza kuweka huduma zake zote kwenye mtandao wa e-Citizen. Na leo hapa tutakuwa tukizungumza na Wakenya. Je, wanafikiri mpango huu wa serikali utaweza kufanikiwa, na wanafikiri pia mpango huu utaweza kurahisisha upatikanaji wa huduma jinsi ambavyo serikali inavyodai kwamba mpango huu utaweza kurahisisha upatikanaji wa huduma kwenye mtandao wa e-Citizen, ambapo Wakenya watakuwa wanapata huduma za serikali kwa urahisi kupitia mtandao wa e-Citizen.
Mimi kwa upande wangu naona sio vizuri, maana kitu cha kwanza hawajafanya public participation. Hawakuhusisha wananchi ili kukusanya mashule zote na watu wote ambao wanasomesha kwa huo mpango. Kwa hivyo kwanza wangefanya public participation, halafu wananchi wakikubali sasa ikuwe itakubalika. Lakini kwa saa hii hata hiyo unasikia hiyo e-Citizen hawajaelimisha watu wajue ni nini hiyo. Kwa hivyo kwanza wangeelimisha watu wajue wanafanya hiyo kwa mpango gani, na hiyo e-Citizen watu wajue ni nini, Maana sasa ukianza kuingiza pesa na unafanyiwa kwa hiyo mpango, hata walimu hajawaita mikutano ya bodi ya shule ndio sasa waeleze watu ya kwamba watakuwa kilipia kwa hiyo njia. Sasa hiyo njia ni njia ambayo imejificha na njia ambayo haieleweki. Mimi sijaiunga mkono, maana hatujaijua, hatujailimishwa. Kwa hiyo mimi nikiwa mzazi na nikiwa mfanyabiashara hatujakubaliana na hiyo mambo ya serikali.
My name is Juliana na ninaona hii mpango ya serikali ya kuweka pesa zote kwa basket moja ya e-citizen itasaidia ku reduce corruption, kwa sababu sasa pesa ikikuwa kwa kikapu moja haitakuwa na many channels zenye inaweza tolewa na watu wengine waitumie for their own use.
Ndio nasema huduma zao zote zitakuwa zinatolewa kupitia mtandao. Kama for example ukitaka kupata passport itakuwa kwenye e-citizen. Wewe unaunga mkono?
Ninaiunga mkono. Kwa sababu all the money ya serikali kuwa pali pamoja, sasa serikali itajua which amount to distribute to different sectors of the government.
Yeah. Sidhani itarahisisha. Itarahisisha. Sasa ile kitu wangefanya wangeweka watu wasomeshe watu kama public participation. Sasa tuwezi ingia kitu hata hujui manufaa yake. Sasa sioni haja. Sawa, sikatai ni kitu kingekuja kwa mpango, lakini kuharakisha kila kitu. Sasa kama ile nimeambia nilipe fees kwa e-citizen na labda siku na pesa kwa nini kwa pesa, wengine tunapewa barua kwa shule, wengine wamepewa tenda ya kusupply labda vitu zingine kwa shule, ama unapewa kazi. Kama mimi ni fundi naenda kujenga, sasa mambo ya e-citizen yatokana na watu, labda wanipe pesa cash ndio nilipe kwa e-citizen. Sioni hii serikali inaharakisha sisi vibaya sana, sidhani. Kwa hii tena kesho wako kwa hii tena kesho wako kwa hii. Sasa na mambo mengine hatujaelewa. Kwanza hii citizen kumaanisha nini? Hatuwezi jiingiza mahali wewe jua unajiingiza wapi.
So wakiweka kila kitu kwanza fee. Kuna wale watoto wenye wanalipaga fee na inform of food staff ama wengine kuni au watafanyiwa aje?
What about ile ambao wanasema ukitaka kutafuta kama passport, ukitaka kutafuta kama license, vitu unapata kwa e-citizen. Do you think inarahisisha upatikanaji huduma?
Hii inaweza rahisisha in a way, kwa sababu sema for example Nyayo House na place za kuchukua passport sasa hii unalipana hongo hizo vitu zitokee, so inaweza make
unga mkono baadhi ya huduma kutolewa kwa e-citizen.
Baadhi ya huduma lakini si zote. Kwanza ya school fees hapana.
Mpango utafanikiwa kwa sababu jinsi ambavyo nimeona kutoka hapa nyuma, ile miradi ambayo serikali imekuwa nayo, tumesikia hata rais akisema ya kwamba hata kama mahakama ikifanya nini ama kukiwa na pingamizi yoyote lazima itapita. So kwangu naona ni kama itafaulu. Yeah.
Tunajaribu kuongelea ile harakati ya huduma, kama ukitaka passport, ukitaka maybe license utaipata kwa e-citizen. Je, unaona hiyo inarahisisha upatikanaji wa huduma?
Kwa upatikanaji wa huduma naweza sema ya kwamba ku automate every service kwa e-citizen itakuwa rahisi kwa Wakenya kupata huduma katika e-citizen. Yeah.
Kuhusiana na mpango wa kusema kwamba karo inastahili kulipo kwa e-citizen, unasemaje kuhusiana nalo?
Kwa karo hapo kidogo siwaungi mkono.
Kwa majina ni Laura Cheruto na support e-citizen juu actually mimi mwenyewe nilichukua passport, so lazima ukue e-citizen, ukue hiyo documents zako zikuwe kwa mitandao, then the message itumwe kwa maybe your phone, your email, hivyo.
So unaona hiyo mpango wa serikali kuweka huduma zake zote kwa e-citizen ni rahisi, ni bora na itafanikisha upatikanaji huduma kwa rahisi?
Ni rahisi na ni bora. Ni easier, like wewe mwenyewe kama unataka kujua information kuhusu, unaweza enda kwa mitandao kwa hiyo e-citizen, as long as uko na hiyo umeregister hapo ndani, so unaweza pata anything hapo ndani, anything you want.
Hiyo mradi ya serikali hiyo wametoa, sisi hatujaona public participation hapa, ndio tuelezeo uzuri umuhimu wake. ili na sisi tuweze kuelewa na tujue ni nini inaendelea. Sasa hii kupelekwa bio mara leo umeambiwa hivi, juzi tulikuwa kama miaka 2 tulikuwa mwaka moja tulikuwa na hii huduma namba. Hatukujua hata ya hiyo huduma namba ilienda ikapotelea tena baada gani. Sasa wakikuja watuelezee, wakuje walete public participation. Tukae chini watuelezee umuhimu wake. Na hata watuelezee hizi system zinafanya kazi aje, hata kwa sababu kama baadhi mimi nitalipia washoshe yangu, nitaingilia wapi? Nitaanza wapi? Na sijaoneshwa hata nitaweka wapi.
Mimi ni Manamba, anafanya kazi ya matatu. Hii kitu hatujakataa, but serikali ingeileta kwetu kwanza, vile wanatuleteanga vitu zingine, watuletee kwa wananchi. Ndio watuelezee hii citizen inamaanisha nini, kwa sababu tukienda kulipa school fees tunaambiwa sijui tulipe wapi na hatujui. Wangetuletea kwanza hii kitu, watuelezee hii kitu inafanywa hivi. Sasa maisha ni ngumu sana. Sasa mtu ndio ujaze 500 kwa siku, maisha ni ngumu. Sasa wakianza kutuambia mambo na hii citizen hii sisi hatuelewi. Ningeomba tu serikali ituletee kwanza hii kitu, sisi kwa raia tusome hii kitu na tuielewe vizuri, ndio tujue hii citizen ni nini, tunalipa nini, tunaenda wapi, tunatoka wapi. Hiyo tu.
Ni maoni ya Wakenya hayo. Wakenya wamezungumza, ambapo tumezunguka sehemu mbalimbali katikati mwa jiji, na Wakenya wamekuwa na haya ya kusema, ambapo tumeona kuwa wengine wanaunga mkono huku wengine wakipinga, lakini asilimia kubwa ambao Wakenya ambao tumezungumza nao wanasema kwamba wafahamu kuhusiana na mpango wa e-citizen, wakitaka serikali kaweze kutoa elimu kuweza kuwafahamisha kuhusiana na e-citizen, na ukisema hana ufahamu hata kidogo. Maoni ya Wakenya hayo inajiri wakati ambapo kesi ya kupinga pendekezo la karo kulipwa kupitia mtandao wa e-citizen ukiahirishwa hadi mwezi ujao. Ni serikali ilikuwa imependekeza kwamba karo ikaweze kulipwa kupitia e-citizen, pendekezo ambalo linaweza kupingwa vikali na wadau mbalimbali, ambapo hata leo Wakenya ambao tumezungumza nao pia wameweza kupinga, lakini wakiunga mkono baadhi ya huduma ambazo zinatolewa kupitia huduma ya e-citizen, wakisema kwamba huduma zingine zinapaswa kutolewa kupitia e-citizen, lakini zingine hazifai kabisa kutolewa kupitia e-citizen. Kufikia hapo, Mwangicho Mola pamoja na Paul Kagi narejesha usukani kwenyu kaweze kuendelea. Jina langu ni Vincent Kimutai.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter there, Vincent Kimutai, of course, interacting with Kenyans and getting their opinions and what they feel about the government's move to ensure that majority of its services are delivered and rendered through e-citizen. And of course, our guest, Bwana Anthony Mwithaga and also Kagi. You've had Kenyans there talking.
Yeah.
And the issue of public participation that you had actually hinted is actually coming out very strongly.
I wrote an article titled Kenya Kwanza, the Himalayas of Mediocrity. The government, the executive...
That sounds very harsh.
It's not harsh. It's the naked truth. The government, the executive is treating itself as the first-class citizens, while the citizens who elected them as the second class. The citizens of this country have every single right enshrined in the Constitution, right? And the freedoms to state it clearly that we will not have this done again in this country without public participation. If you assume that you lead this country without that, then you're doomed. And you can hear what people are saying. People are mad about it. People simply don't want it. If you think Kenyans are not enlightened, then I think the best thing for this government is to pack and go.
It's very interesting because I think big percent of those who spoke here sound aware of the public participation, even there before. That before you could talk about public participation, Kenyans are not aware what is this. But today, if you could hear these people, they know what is public participation. But again, the irony of this matter again is as much as Kenyans are aware of the public participation, again, they don't participate in them. It's very interesting. Yeah, you call them to come, they don't come. Those meetings are left for the high-ranking opinion leaders, politicians to come and give their views. But the same common mwananchi who is feeling the pitch of whatever is being done is not coming out to give their views in these forums. I don't understand how.
Allow me to say this, Kagi. When the IBC is announcing registration of voters, they have the lorries moving around here. That should be the same treatment towards what we call civic education, right? Unfortunately, most of this public participation is held in halls. So how many people access those halls? And some people feel that if they were to give their opinion, they would be, how should I put it, intimidated because of giving their, parallel opinions. But they have a right. That's what they don't know. So the idea of civic education should be a continuous thing. The same way, we register voters. Those lorries should move around here. The county lorries, the national government lorries should move around here. Enlightening people that we'll have this probably at the Fraha Stadium or NSC or wherever. They have enough space to gather enough people so that that message can reach as many people as possible. We have TV, we have the times when they send SMSs. We have all these means, through social media to reach out to people, to, lure them into public participation. And so if you think they're not aware, then I don't know.
But again, also, even though you may try to bring those forums on the ground, another challenge that comes out easily is some of them need to be paid to attend those forums, even in the village.
The members of public.
They ask,
they don't
to come in.
They need some sitting allowance.
But who introduced that? We, the politicians. We've made people look like commodities. So if we don't pay them, they'll not appear. Right? It's a very sad situation in this country.
And something else that, of course, in line with that, Kagi, what you're talking about, public participation, is also the unfortunate state of also quite a number of Kenyans not even being aware of what e-citizen actually means, which paints a very gloom picture of the need also maybe to conduct what we're calling civic education on this particular matter. And maybe, I don't know, but what do you think Bwana Mwithaga would have maybe made the government to take that particular, because I believe these are leaders who know that this is a process to actually follow, this is what they need to do, these are some of the undertakings that they need to know, maybe to have, maybe before they come up with a particular, with a result like that one, or maybe with a step like that one.
We have our ward representatives, the MCAs. They're capable of conducting the civic education. We have our MPs, we have our women rep, we have the senator. What are all these representatives for? If they cannot help in public participation, in making people aware of the things that have been done, that's why we elected them. Otherwise, we would have everybody in that parliament. I don't know what it would look like. So our representatives are also failing. And the worst bit about it, Kagi, most of these fellows are compromised. Why do you want to enlighten people on this issue? So let's meet behind the tent, as they always say. You take this 100,000, keep quiet. So a vast majority of our representatives are compromised. That is why this thing is not able to take off. But the beauty about the citizens themselves is that they take time to research. Would you have expected an old woman like that to say the things she said? You wouldn't expect that. So if you think that she's not aware, then you're living on a different island.
Also, our parliamentarians have a big share to blame.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the representatives we elected. It should trickle all the way down to the MCA. Otherwise, then they should have no business being our representatives. Yes.
And one of the other areas that maybe most Kenyans would have wanted to actually be addressed, or maybe would have actually desired, or even maybe expected that the introduction of e-citizen maybe would actually solve, is what we've always said, inequality, maybe in terms of how people are actually recruited into government jobs. Again, Bwana Mudhage, as you look at this, because there has been that complaint that maybe particular ethnic communities have actually dominated our public service, and maybe this is because of the mediocre and the manipulated kind of the recruitment exercise.
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, most of these things are pegged on our politics, right? And you'd want to have as many people from your community in government. You're assured of their votes. I don't know how, but according to our leaders, they're assured of their votes. So they end up coming up with, and then this very interesting ideology of our time is our time to eat. I don't know how long we can sustain this. You know, what we are creating in this country are magnificent recipes for revolution. Okay. You saw it in Romania and Nicolae Ceausescu, trying to address about 2 million people. 10 minutes later, they've rejected him. 2 hours later, he's not the president. I think 2-3 days later, he's shot dead. I don't think we would want to go into that direction. We must find a way out of this by respecting and safeguarding our constitution, which the current president has failed to do. He's behaving as if he's above the law. He's not. He needs to remember that he still has a constitution to respect and the sovereignty of the people of the Republic of Kenya. Yeah.
Sure, and in line with that, what we've discussed today, Kagi, what we're looking at the papers, the issue of ghost workers. And I think this is something that has actually been occurring in our papers now for quite a number of times. It seems this is really costing us as a country.
You know, our leaders can also be very interesting, and not just political leaders, even those who work in the parastatals. And it's all about money. Whatever we're doing is all about money. 35 billion shillings is not pocket change. So Mudhage is the new CEO of this parastatal. Of course, I'll be able to employ a few people here, but the ones who've not been around, maybe they're dead or retired, I'll still have them on that payroll and collect that money. That's why people have a problem with e-citizen, because who decides where that money goes? Who decides where that money goes? So when you have a country complaining about 35 billion being lost through ghost workers, then it begs the question whether we are serious about what we call financial austerity.
I also think Mudhage, citizens are also to be blamed, because how can you dare? You know very well that you are not an employee of a certain county or a ministry, but you go and line up and you're given money you never worked for. And therefore, I think when citizens are really the biggest contributors to these evils in the society.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
It is all a question of personal integrity, because one doing that definitely has a deal with the boss. You know, the CEO Kagi will be paying you 100,000, but you keep 30, I keep 70. So this is something that revolutions have been able to solve by getting rid of all the crop that we have. You know, it won't pain us to start all over again after 60 years, Mangicho. For the sake of your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and 6 more generations to come. Otherwise, they'll blame us.
Maybe we can take a short break, then we can come back and maybe look at that particular point. But when you come back, we also now get into the IBC issue, and we want to find out what exactly ails as a country as far as elections are concerned. And of course, we also have Vox Pops on that particular area or on that particular subject. Remember, you're also giving us your opinions on 23814 and in our social media pages, that is Facebook MBCI TV and YouTube, that is MBCI TV Official.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Welcome to Africa International University, where education meets transformation. At AIU, we don't just educate, we inspire and innovate, shaping Christ-centered leaders who will transform Africa and the world. Our academic programs cater to every ambition: certificates, diplomas, bachelor's, postgraduate, master's, and PhDs. Join our international community and embark on an exciting academic journey that goes beyond borders. We lead, we innovate, we inspire, because at AIU, we are more than a university. We are a family with a common goal of transforming the world. The time is now. Enroll in AIU and be a part of a university in the heart of Africa, with Africa on its heart. Africa International University, where dreams take flight and leaders are born.
Wakati wa kulima umefika. Ukulima bora ni Lovol Tractor. Kwa nini Lovol Tractors? Ni za hadhi ya juu na zina vipengeza ubora zaidi ambazo ni tofauti sana na tractors nyinginezo. Zina warranty ya hadi miaka miwili. Lovol Tractors zinapatikana kutoka 25 horsepower hadi 220 horsepower. Vilevile tuna FM World Combine Harvesters za hadhi ya juu kwa wakulima wanaovuna mchele. Unazipata na warranty ya mwaka mmoja. Lovol Tractors na FM World Combine Harvesters waweza kuzipata kwa mkopo kupitia kwa reputable financial institution in Kenya hadi kiwango cha 90%. Sheria na masharti kutumika. Lovol Tractors na FM World Combine Harvesters zinapatikana Camco Equipment Kenya Limited, authorized distributor of Lovol Tractors and FM World Combine Harvesters in Kenya. Vile pale Camco utapata Weichai generators zinazotoa umeme kutoka viwango vya 17 kVA hadi 3000 kVA. Forklifts za utofauti sana, wheel loaders za kipekee na equipment nyinginezo. Tunapatikana Nairobi, pale head office ya Tuskys ya zamani, Sit Cabanas main stage, Mombasa Road, na pale Nakuru ni Marshall Building along George Morara Avenue, direct opposite Nakuru County Assembly. Camco Equipment Kenya Limited, your one-stop shop for agriculture and heavy equipments.
Worth celebrating, the dreams we chase, the connections we cherish, the laughter that fills our hearts. These are the true treasures. But sometimes, the path to those moments can feel clouded by financial worries. What if you could invest in a future where chasing your dreams isn't just a desire, but a reality? With Nwealth Capital, small steps lead to big possibilities. With Nwealth Money Market Fund, you can secure your financial future for a better tomorrow. Meticulously crafted for growth, carefully managed for safety of your investments and growth, you can invest as little as 1,000 Kenyan shillings. Whether you yearn for the freedom to travel, the joy of owning a home, or the security of a comfortable retirement, we enable your dreams to reality. Sign up today through www.nwealth.co.ke/capital or call 0700 617 443 and secure a lifetime of financial well-being and dignity through Nwealth. Nwealth Capital Unit Trust Scheme is approved by CMA, which does not take responsibility for the financial soundness of the scheme. Prices of shares and income may fluctuate and the right to redeem shares may be suspended. Nwealth Capital Limited is a subsidiary entity of Nwealth Financial Services Limited with regulatory approvals to provide pensions, investments, and insurance services.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Mine is just to thank the government first of all for thinking of such kind of an important issue concerning the electoral body. It's very important. We experienced a very transparent election the other time, And because that was due to, I believe, the competency about the commissioners. Tuliona a very transparent election, and my information or my kind of view about the selection of the panel of commissioners is all about integrity and kind of experience and people who have the heart to serve the nation with the truthfulness and I think serving the nation with the truthfulness, yani kuwa ule citizen mzalendo Mkenya mwenye ako na utu na ako na hitaji ya kusaidia wa Kenya, kusiwe na chaos, kusiwe na issues, to experience such things like the way we experienced in 2007. So the most important thing is to select, to give someone who is very committed to do that work, and having in mind that Kenya is much important than anybody else.
Mimi Kenya ninaweza omba sana tuchague IBC enye itatumika ikiogopa Mungu, si yule mwenye atatumia Mungu kama daraja ya kuvukia ng'ambo ile. Tunataka Mungu, mtu mwenye amesimama anasema mimi ni mcha Mungu na awe mcha Mungu, si yule mwenye anasema wacha nitumie hii lugha kwa sababu watu wako wengi pande ile. Tunataka mtu mwenye anaongea akiogopa Mungu. Tuchague IBC yenye inaogopa Mungu, na hiwe mtu mwenye amekomaa kiakili.
Shida kawaida ya IBC sio wale wanawekwa kwa ofisi. Shida huwa ni wanasiasa. Kwa hivyo huwa naona kila wakati watu ambao wamepewa ni wale wamehitimu. Hakuna wakati watu hawajahitimu wajapewa. Lakini wanasiasa wako na ile inaitwa personal interests, of which inaonekana hawatawahi kuagree ama hawakujangi into agreement. So ni wanasiasa ndio wanatakana kubadilisha mtazamo wao kwa wale wamewekwa kwa ile ofisi. Kwa sababu sio wenye ofisi ya IBC ndio wenye shida, na hakuna wakati tumepea wale hawajatoshea kupewa, ila ni wanasiasa huwa wanawatupia tu mawe. So wale watapewa watu watosheke, kwa sababu kila wakati wale wametoshea ofisi huwa wanapewa. Shida yetu tu ni personal interests from the political parties.
Matarajio yangu nataka watu ambao yako very transparent, that chenye wata decide ni kile Kenya inakubaliana nao. So najua saizi hatuna commissioners, na so that kila mtu wakubaliane, we need politicians, because we cannot avoid politicians. So the best thing, kama sheria itakubali, let there be dialogue between the government and the opposition, and kama itawezekana pamoja na makanisa. Others saa ingine wakue players. Others the key people are the church or the organization of the religion, the church, the government and opposition, so that we have a dialogue ambaye ni mzuri, ambaye inakubalika Kenya mzima, so that wale watakuwa na interest ya Kenya.
Kulingana na mimi mwenyewe nataka watu wasomi. Tukipata watu wasomi, hata ile watu hawakusoma inataka kuwekwa mtu mmoja ili aweze kusikia maneno kwa vizuri. Ya pili, tunataka watu walio na tabia mzuri na watu wachakuliwa kwa kila upande. Ikiwa itawezekana kuchakuliwa katika mkoa hii, lakini ipatikane watu wa kabila yote ndani ya hiyo, kwa sababu tunataka kitu straight na tunataka kitu ya kila mtu anakubali ni amana. So wasomi, kwa sababu kuna watu ile mnaitwanga minority. Hata katika mambo ya masomo kuna watu minority, lazima ingizwe ndani watu ile kusoma, ili pia hata yeye atoe maneno ya watu ile kusoma ndani ya hiyo. So ningesema tunawataka watu wazuri na watu ile wenye tabia mzuri. Hiyo tu, hatutaki waisi. Hatutaki hatutaki waisi kabisa. Tunataka tu mtu tabia mzuri, hata kiwa namna gani, hata kiwa Turkana natoka mbali au Rendile natoka wapi, au ile watu ile dorobo ile kidogo ile ajulikane. Tunataka watu waaminifu.
kwanza kabisa IBC waokoke. Wakishaokoka, hapa ndio tutasema kuna tumaini kutoka IBC, kwa sababu imebeba kama karibu nchi mzima, wanamulika, wanategemea ili wapate mwelekeo ambalo iko sahihi. Nikiongezea kuhusu IBC ndio mmoja ambalo wanachangia hii mawazo ya Wakenya kuwa na msongamano wa mawazo. Kwa sababu gani? Ukiona kama ile election tulipiga juzi, kila IBC kama chairman wa IBC ni mtu wa kuletwa na kukalisha chini, Wakenya wote wanaoangalia. Sasa hapo tunakosa tumaini na IBC, kwa sababu ni mtu wa kuletwa, kaa chini, sungumusa. Sasa hiyo IBC hiyo ndio tumekosa imani nao.
Saa ile mtu nachaguliwa kwa IBC, nachaguliwa mtu ambao amesoma. Na vile mtu ameingia kwa ofisi iko na challenges yake. Kama mtu ilikuwa mtu ambao ulikuwa unaona ni mzuri, atakuwa mzuri tu, lakini ile maneno atabata kwa ofisi ndio tafanya mtu nabadilika. Maybe ile maneno amepata, anafaa always atoe maneno ya kunyamashisha watu ama kuongelesha watu kulingana ile amepata. So hiyo mtu utakuja sikia mtu amekuwa vibaya, lakini si vibaya. Kuna sheria, hata akiingia huko hakuwa anajua iko sheria ya huko. So ukifika pale atakuta sheria iko. Lazima ati ile sheria ambao anapata kwa ofisi. Sasa IBC wewe pata mtu mzuri. Wewe utajuaje ni nani mzuri? Hata MB ukichagua anakuambia yeye ni mzuri. Sasa ile amefika huko kwa bunge anageuka na nini? Anageuswa na sheria. So hakuna mtu ambao tunasema ni mzuri.
Tunaomba sisi kama Wakenya ichaguliwe tu Wakenya. Wakenya chaguliwe ni waangalie watu mzuri wale wanachaguliwa. Sababu kwa hii serikali hata hao watu wa IBC sasa wengi wanaogopa kulingana na serikali, wanawatishia maisha. Sasa unakuta ndio wanatamani kuenda, lakini uoga juu kukosa kuenda pale, kukosa kuchagua mwenye anafaa ikuwe hapo, unakuta anataimiwa.
That is quite a good job there, of course, with our reporters on the Leadership Wednesday show, getting also views from Kenyans on what they think about the recruitment or the reconstitution of IEBC, that is Independent and Electoral Boundaries Commission. And back to our guest, and of course also my colleague Paul Kagi. Bwana Muthaga, you've had Kenyans there, and I know this matter of IBC has now been with us. Issues to do with elections, electoral disputes, electoral chaos, electoral violence. Do you believe politicians are the major impediment to a stable IBC?
Absolutely true, because of what we call vested interest, right? For whatever reason, that's what I'm saying. Kenyans have a right to say what they want to say within the framework of the Constitution. Unfortunately, when they go into those boardrooms, I tend to think, this is my feeling, and you know, most of these fellows are forced into doing some of the things, either with a gun on their head or with the money on the table. So it's all about vested interest from politicians. It's the politicians messing this country.
How comes we've never had even one defying those moves?
Well, like I said, either they have a gun on their head or money is put on the table.
You don't think it is able for one maybe to say, let me die?
I think I mentioned the aspect of personal integrity. How far can you take that? Because that's what integrity is all about, doing that which is right even when no one is looking. A vast majority of us will not be able to do that. I was happy when someone sent me a clip about this gentleman who was working in the KEMSA laboratory, who was able to, who actually is a whistleblower, and is not even hiding from saying what he's saying. Because if we can get such a person to be the chairman of IBC, then I'm sure this country will go a long way to realizing the dream that Kenyans are being.
So in terms of competency, the people we put there are competent?
No, we don't even question the competence
in terms of
this
experience?
No. You heard someone say it's not about competence, it's about integrity. The question is there anyone ready to say no to cash? And anyone ready to die for this country? I don't think so.
Again, you see, according to the culture that we have developed for some time, you find that Kenyans sometimes seem to love people who are not of good standing. For example, if you find someone who has a good integrity, is standing for a position, another person here is not a good standing, they are standing on the same position, ironically you see Kenyans who go for this negative character and avoid the positive character.
We are still held hostage by the ideology, release Barnabas, crucify Jesus Christ. That is still working for us today. So that if Kagi is a man of integrity, we have Mr. Mwidago Mangicho released. They want the thieves. And that is why when I penned my article, I gave the title, Kenya Kwanza, the Himalayas of mediocrity. We always want bad things in this country. And then we the citizens, start complaining. Barely a month after electing our leaders, oh, Mangicho is not doing what he's supposed to do, Kagi is not supposed to, all these things. It's a question of integrity.
But unfortunately, we cannot leave out politicians in the entire process of IBC.
It is true that we may not be able to do that, but I think it also should be subject to public participation. At this point in time, and with all that is happening in our country, I think it is time for us to have that thing as a subject of public participation so that we can end all this once and for all. I mean, we can't keep talking about the same thing year in, year out.
So in terms of public participation on matters, elections in Kenya, are you saying we've not had public participations?
Well, we've had, but not with the sort of magnitude we'd want. You've had what people have said.
What kind of magnitude?
It's got to be done on a, I think, monthly basis, because the government has the money to do that. If the government didn't have money, then they would not want to waste money doing that sort of thing.
Again, sometimes you may do the public participation in what you want to do as a country.
Selective justice.
Yeah, but another challenge is you find that we are doing participation, we are enlightening public, they understand what they're supposed to do, but again, when our guys come, the politicians we're talking about, they come to influence their reasoning. And they make wrong choices, maybe deliberately or because of the influence of cash. You see? You are allowing them to give their views, but again, there are some guys who are very cunning on how to tilt their reasoning.
Well, I heard someone say, there's a gentleman who has shared his thoughts with us. He said, the beauty about it, the election was done fairly and no chaos. Someone reminds me that tension is not the absence of peace, it is merely the presence of justice. Yeah.
Princess of justice.
And Mangicho, there's one point that I wanted to put across to Mr. Mwidaga as we continue. We are talking about maybe lacking some people to be able to help us move to the next level, maybe to finish corruption. And Mwidaga is talking about revolution as a solution. But I think we have been doing some unnoticed revolutions in our country. For example, if you look at the current political class, it is, I think, almost 90% of young people. Because many people have been thinking that the old guards are the ones which are corrupting the nation, they're the ones which are taking country backward. And therefore, people are trying to come up with a system where we are electing young people to lead the nation.
And are the young ones doing us any better?
That is it, you see. Now, when you bring them on board, they're even the worst.
Yeah.
Is that not a form of revolution to erase the old guard and to bring the young people who are vibrant, fresh ideas, they are not tainted?
Or maybe when you talk about this revolution, it's not necessarily a matter of age.
Well, he's talking about generational discrimination. To me, what I believe, and I think I said this very clearly when we started off, it is not piecemeal revolution. It is full-fledged revolution. You know, we are bringing an end to the history of governance in this country of over 60 years to an end, to start afresh.
And our democracy always gives us 5 years, after 5 years to do this.
Well, you remember what Churchill once said, that democracy is not the best forms of government. Unfortunately, no one has invented a better one. And Socrates agrees with us. Either we are looking at the minor premises or the major premises, yes.
But it has worked for some countries.
Well, it has worked for some countries that are sober and are prepared to listen. When the president listens and remembers that he's not above the Constitution or above the law, then it works for them. Take an example, the United States, right? If you mess, you have no choice but to park and leave. Do the same thing in the UK, you know.
And we've borrowed highly from countries like US.
Yes,
US. Our democracy. Only that we are failing to implement.
Our type of democracy, given our current situation, political situation, it's very cosmetic. It's cosmetic in the sense that, yes, you talk about democracy, the same people talk about democracy, whether it's Kenya Kwanza, Azimio, but do they really practice that sort of thing? No. So we have kind of redefined democracy to suit our needs.
Yeah, as we continue again on the same, something is crossing my mind regarding to a revolution that we are talking about. But as much as we do it, who can be trusted to, maybe with a new face of maybe leadership? Who? Because already the people that we have on the ground, the young people, are highly corrupted.
I'm sure the revolution will produce a leader. The same way Burkina Faso was once very lucky to produce the late Captain Thomas Sankara.
Should they be technocrats and not necessarily politicians?
Not necessarily politicians, but we could still have a combination of politicians who are prepared to do the right thing. You know, and that we're not saying that revolutions have solved some of our problems, political problems, economic problems, per se, but it helped the political class to realize that if we mess, we are not alone. Someone will take charge. And you know, for now, it is all about we the people. At some point, I even told my friend, and I shared with my friend, I do not wish from this time going forward to ever sing the Kenya national anthem. It's not making sense. And at some point we were just sharing with him, I think I'll be singing Kosi Sikilela. It makes more sense to us as Africans. Yeah. I'm sorry, you may question the path of my wisdom in terms of patriotism, but that's the way it is now. Yeah. People have lost that.
And there's some parts, there is a section of Kenyans who are of the opinion and strongly believe that our election systems has never been the problem, but particularly individuals who have failed to concede defeat during elections.
Yeah, that sort of unfairness in the way they treat people. And you know, it starts from campaigns. Mangicho has a lot of money to give out. You know, already that is the first level of being unfair. Because we don't have that kind of money to give out to people. So chances are citizens end up remembering Mangicho, who gave us 500 bob. He solved some of the temporal problems we have. But the long-term problems will always be here with us. Yeah, it's hard because it's about our politicians. Yeah, and they don't care. Especially those who cough out a lot of money, they don't care, and that is why they do not serve us. They'll fall for anything, and that is why some have even joined the government despite being Azimio. And you ask them why? Is it a question of ideology? It is not a question of ideology. It's a question of money. Yeah.
Maybe Kagi, before you come up with that particular point, we are introducing another segment in this particular program called the Leadership Quote. And my director is telling me we can have a look at today's Leadership Quote segment that we've introduced in the Leadership Wednesday, so that we can be able to see what is it that pertains to leadership, what is it that entails leadership, and what are some of the things that different people have said as far as leadership is concerned. So we can have that particular leadership quote for today. not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. That is Ralph Waldo Emerson. That is our leadership quote for today on this particular show. That is Wednesday, Leadership Wednesday. Yes, Bwana Mwidaga, what do you think about Ralph Waldo?
To justify Sobukwe's thoughts, true leadership demands complete subjugation of self, absolute honesty, integrity, uprightness of character, courage, and fearlessness, and above all, a consuming love for one's people. That's exactly what Emerson has said.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. Kakagi had a point.
Yeah, just about the quote. Sometimes we find that many people like following other people blindly, which is our main problem. That
So
sometimes we are unable to make our own decision to follow our own path.
So sometimes we should be the ones finding.
Yes.
Looking for those paths.
Right.
If you summarize Emerson's quote, it's about legacy. What legacy are you leaving behind? Yeah, would like to trace your steps, but is the legacy good for the country and for the people? But when you look at most of these legacies in this country, it's laughable.
Okay.
It is laughable.
So maybe in 30 seconds, Bwana Mwidaga, what should happen now? Should the IBC process still go back to the National Dialogue Committee between the government and the opposition, or just as the court has determined?
It should not go back to the National Dialogue Committee. It should come to us, we the people.
We the people.
We the people.
To constitute IBC.
And let me allow you, let me say this. Again, I've got to say it here. The most potent weapon in the hands of an oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. I've rested my case.
Thank you. Wow. And I think that was quite very, very captivating and fascinating discussion on these two areas of discussion: service delivery and also reconstitution of the IEBC. I want to appreciate our guest so much. When Anthony Mwidaga is a governance expert and also a political analyst, making time to be with us for this particular show. Of course, we'll do it again next week, the same time, the same place. On behalf of the entire team making this a success, my name is Mangicho Mola. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Right. I want to thank you once again for finding time to follow the Leadership Wednesday. Until next time, Friday, we'll be here with many matters. My name is Paul Kagi. I enjoy your day.